Police discovered a female body in an underground reservoir, positioned lying on her side inside a large shopping cart. It was clear this was another murder and body disposal case. At the scene, agents found a stone in the victim's hand with the words, "I love you," written on it. Based on analysis of previous cases, it could have been left by a psychopathic killer during the crime. It appeared this stone was most likely used by the murderer. The medical examiner found evidence of articular labral deformity in the victim's neck on the x-rays. To cause such damage, the victim would have had to look up at the sky at a 45-degree angle for at least 5 hours every day. The hole in the skull perfectly matched a .22 caliber bullet, but police found no corresponding bullet at the scene, suggesting the murder weapon was most likely not a handgun. Angela completed a facial reconstruction of the victim, revealing the appearance of someone in their 70s or 80s. However, the medical examiner had previously determined from skeletal features that the victim was clearly a child. The discrepancy was too great, so the medical examiner decided to re-examine the remains. Zach's second examination revealed the victim had not developed wisdom teeth, indicating incomplete development. The mandibular plates had also not fused with surrounding bones, further confirming the victim was under 20 years old. However, the vertebrae showed symptoms of arthritis, and the clavicle showed signs of deterioration. The protrusions on the superior articular processes and all major bones displayed signs of bone dissolution and severe degeneration. The only explanation was that the victim suffered from Werner syndrome, a premature aging disease. Based on the reconstructed face, Angela successfully identified the victim in missing persons records as Michael. Agents then located Michael's mother, Andy. They learned that although Michael was technically an adult, her brain was underdeveloped, leaving her intelligence at a child's level and unable to work. Michael enjoyed sitting in the living room gazing at the stars, which explained the spinal abnormality. During these times, she would draw the starry sky on paper. Since Andy needed to work and couldn't be with her daughter constantly, she hired a caregiver from a welfare agency. She had instructed the caregiver not to bathe Michael without permission, but one day after coming home from work, Andy smelled her own shampoo on her daughter's hair. Andy became convinced the caregiver had done something inappropriate to Michael and reported this to the service agency. However, after Michael went missing, the investigation stopped. Agents brought the caregiver in for questioning. The caregiver firmly denied any misconduct, explaining that since Michael's intelligence was equivalent to a 6-year-old's, she had accidentally gotten herself covered in dirt while playing. The caregiver suggested Michael take a bath but stood at the bathroom door throughout. Michael bathed herself entirely. Although Michael had explained what happened to her mother, Andy refused to listen, insisting the caregiver must have done something to her daughter. Andy suffered from an illness that made her temperamental and volatile. Failing company evaluations meant she couldn't keep her job, leading to a steadily declining quality of life. The intern discovered signs of decalcification around the hole, determining it wasn't caused by a bullet but rather resembled a surgical drill hole. Upon questioning Andy, they learned Michael had undergone brain surgery at age 3 to reduce intracranial pressure. However, agents suspected Andy might have resented having a child with intellectual disabilities and, in grief and anger, may have beaten her. Head trauma is very common in child abuse cases. Andy seemed flustered upon hearing these speculations and quickly stood up, saying it was time for her medication. She took out 3 bottles from the cabinet. The agent recognized one as specifically used to treat HIV/AIDS, but since all suspicions were speculative, he didn't ask about it directly. It was discovered that Michael died from an overdose of nevirapine, a medication specifically used to treat HIV/AIDS, indicating that Andy had poisoned her own daughter. Faced with the accusation, Andy said her daughter was the love of her life and she couldn't bear to see her suffer. Plus, she herself had AIDS and was dying, and worried about leaving Michael alone in the world, she resorted to this desperate measure. More ironically, Camille discovered the drug used was actually experimental and couldn't completely replace nevirapine, which hadn't been officially released at that time. It wasn't until this year that the medication became publicly available. After receiving it, Andy's condition suddenly improved and she became able to work normally. But tragically, her beloved daughter had already died by her own impulsive hand. At the time of the incident, Andy brought Michael to the park, took out the medication, and told her daughter it was candy. Michael happily consumed it. After the medication took effect, Michael died in Andy's arms. The case ends here. Thank you for watching.